My journey started in health and fitness. I was a coach for many, many years, helping people get into their best shape ever. And essentially, a few years back, in fact, maybe 3.5 years ago, I launched my own podcast. I was a big fan of the medium, loved the idea of podcasting in a world where everything's becoming, let's keep your attention for as little time as possible and swipe on to the next thing. But podcasting kind of kept the tradition of long form conversation, the ability to take your attention to a conversation, be prepared to listen to it. And I wanted a bit of that. So that's exactly what I did. I got started with my own podcast. And over the years, I found it to be an incredible journey. I've been able to have a lot of success with my own podcast as well. And I feel that there are so many voices in this world who deserve to be listened to. And I think a lot of us hold ourselves back from either creating our podcasts through the fear that no one will listen or that it's too complicated. And a lot of us also give up on our podcasts. We get started and then we don't feel like we're not getting the type of listens that we deserve. And then we end up giving them up. And I want to help people get through that battle. I want to show them that on the other side of that fear or on the other side of the challenge of people not listening, I want them to see and to know that there are listeners there. There are people who want to hear that message, and we can always do with more solid conversations in the world. And that's what I intend to help people do.
And you did mention that a lot of people give up on their podcast probably too early. How long did it take you, and why didn't you give up?
I would say for myself personally, I was very, very committed to the sense that I didn't have the crazy high outcomes. And I think this is a big thing that maybe a lot of us have. We have these high expectations of what our podcasts are going to be, or the amount of listens we're going to get, or if we're going to get famous overnight. And I think fortunately, I didn't have those high expectations. I wanted to make the podcast because I saw a big gap in my industry, in my niche. And I was like, I'm going to fill this. And whilst I still had something to say, I continued to do it. And then it became habitual thereafter. Obviously, I was getting the results as well. I probably reached a bit of a turning point where my listens were kind of stuck at where they were. And then I decided that I would go and do daily podcasts. So I did that and committed to it for over 190 days, which was quite a journey, that's to say the least. And that's what really turned things around for me. After I did those 190 days, there was really no stopping me. A weekly episode seemed pretty comfortable after that. And that seemed to allow me to get through my plateau as well. And then on the other side of that, it's just been gaining that momentum, which I find that if you stick to it, people truly are able to achieve. And that was the point for me. I was really contemplating, okay, well, where is this at this moment in time? I was able to get onto the dailies, and then that really turned things around for me.
Interesting, Elliot. And so you did the dailies for a long period of time, and now you're on weekly schedule. Is that correct?
2 to 3 per week. If I have a lot of guests who I'm talking to, then I will go up to 3, but 2 to 3, 1 solo, 1 guest, definitely. And then we do a potential 1 extra guest.
And what did you notice happening when you kind of switched it up to quantity? And this is the thing. A lot of people have in their mind that it's quantity versus quality. And I very much think that people need to be looking at quantity. If you can somehow work out a workflow where you're able to really drastically increase your quantity output, you'll get a lot better results. What was your experience with that, and how long did it take you with that new kind of higher output to get some traction?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think it's a different era that we're in now. I think I did mine in 2021. Through late 2021 through to 2022 was when I did my daily podcasts. But I feel like the world that we're in right now with 2024, everyone is like quantity. And I would have to say that maybe